Greetings from the water's edge, everybody, and today I'm actually here to talk about bounce on your wedges. And if you're thinking, why is he down by the water? You're actually in the right place, because knowing a little bit about bounce can make a huge difference to your having the right wedges that work best for you and your enjoyment of the game. And it's actually very much like skimming stones on water. If you come down here to this stony beach and you want to skim some stones across the top of the water, the search always begins to find the perfect stone, doesn't it? The holy grail is one like this, that's nice and wide and flat at the bottom, with a little bit of roundiness on the edges that it will bounce and skip and skim on the water again and again. There's nothing worse, is there, than a stone that digs into the water and dies on first contact. Now, if all that rings a bell with you, and I'm sure it does, there's nothing you don't already know about bounce in wedges. The theory is pretty much exactly the same. So let's go take a look. Ah, that's better. Now, when you hit a golf shot with your wedge, you don't want your wedge to get stuck into the ground. No. Around the moment of impact, you want your wedge to come down and bounce gently under the ball so that the grass, or the sand of course if you're in a bunker, doesn't snag up or slow your club head through the strike. That is why wedges are specifically shaped like this. Now look at how, when I place the wedge on a surface at address, just say this hard surface, the leading edge here is sitting up off the surface. The angle this leading edge makes with the sole that's touching the surface is called the bounce angle, or degree of bounce. And that degree of bounce, it's actually usually stamped on the wedge. This one here says 8 degrees of bounce, and it's a 52-degree lofted wedge. So, bounce can be considered your friend, as it were, and on the face of it, it looks like the more bounce you have on the wedges, the easier they will be to hit. And in general, that actually is quite true. But wait, hang on a second. Just think for a second of all the shots you hit with your wedges. There are lots of shots, aren't there? There are long wedge shots, short wedge shots, flop shots where the ball goes right up in the air, bunker shots of course, ones that are nipped off tightly mown grass and stop quickly. There are so many shots. And then think of all the types of golf course conditions there are. There are actually loads of those also when you get around to thinking of it. Think of hard links ground courses, parkland courses, soft, squelchy, wet courses in winter, courses with lush grass, courses with tight grass. So depending on the courses you play and the shots you like to play with your wedges, sometimes having more bounce or less bounce is actually advantageous. Now, yes, for the average club player, having wedges with lots of bounce, say between 7 and 10 degrees, will work for most. If you play a lot in soft, wet conditions, or tend to dig the club into the ground, or kind of chunk the ball with your wedges, then you should choose wedges with even more bounce than that. And of course, having lots of bounce on there really will help you out of the rough and out of bunkers to get out of them consistently. But say for instance your regular course is a links course, hard ground with lots of run. You don't want your wedges to bounce too much off the hard ground. You might be afraid the club head will bounce up off the ground just at the moment of impact, causing you to skull or bone your ball. In that case, you might choose a low bounce wedge for links conditions, maybe 4 to 6 degrees. Lots of tour professionals actually also use low bounce wedges because they're just so skillful. They're able to pick the ball cleanly off pretty much any surface, and they don't really need the help that bounce gives us, the average golfer. So there you have it, the basics of bounce in wedges, from the lake to the park bench. Think skimming stones and you're actually on a winner. Now, if you want to delve a little deeper into the terminology of wedges, there's also a thing called grind that I want to explain to you, and it's very important to know a little bit about that too. So make sure to check out that companion video. It's a separate video, do check it out. Please do press like, of course, and subscribe to the Golf Bidder YouTube channel And of course, follow us on Golf Bitter Facebook, Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date with the very latest. For me for now though, it's Donal, out.